Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to England, and we've got another new brewery who I've never tried anything from. So today we're going to go down to Suffolk, to a little hamlet or a little village or something like that, I'm not quite sure, called Badley, and we're going to do my first review from Burnt Mill Brewery, and these guys have been getting a hell of a lot of accolades recently. So this beer is called the Ties That Bine. It's an Ella and El Dorado double IPA coming in at 8.2%, and it should be really nice. I bought this beer in Market Wines in Durham, so these guys always sell me some really good beers, and the guy in there was really complimentary of this brewery. Like I say, they've had some really good accolades recently. I do believe they actually won the award of Best New Brewery of 2017, which it's no mean feat actually. It's quite hard to get a hold of these things, so I'm sure it'll be a nice beer. I'm definitely looking forward to trying it, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Burnt Mill. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beers based on country, city or state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you, and that's constantly being added to. And please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Burnt Mill Brewery then. So as I mentioned to you, the Burnt Mill Brewery are based in Badley in Suffolk, which is a little bit to the northwest of Ipswich. The brewery was founded by Charles O'Reilly, and he first started releasing the beers back in early 2017 as far as I can figure. I can't actually find an official start date for this brewery, but Charles apparently discovered Sierra Nevada after going through Red Stripe and then going through Adams and finally coming across Sierra Nevada in the supermarkets, and this really made him, this kind of discovery of the American craft beers really made him seek out a lot of different world beers. And when he was living in London, he spent a lot of time drinking at Kernel and Brew by Numbers, two of the really well known London breweries actually, and ones that I do still need to review for you on the channel. But after this he started to get into home brewing a little bit, and his first beer that he produced was a clone of the Kernel Double Citra, and he says that it really turned out a lot better than he expected, and since then he's been learning about beer, reading different blogs and different books and all of these kind of things. And this was back in 2011 that he first started to get into homebrewing and learning about beer apparently. But Charles was apparently drawn to Badley by the fact that they could brew with grains that were grown in the local fields, and it's very close also to their maltery as well, which is Muntons. They're apparently quite a well-known maltery, if you like, if I'm using the right word, malt house. Not sure exactly what terminology I should be using there, but these guys are quite a well-known producer of different malts, and these are of course what are used in the Burnt Mill beers. But the brewery currently boasts a 15 BBL brew kit, and they've got 15 BBL fermenters as well, from what I understand. I think they're called Gravity Systems or something like that. They were saying that's the brand of fermenters they've got, which apparently are very good, and it's a 2,400 square foot barn that they have as well. It actually looks really impressive if you go on the website and have a look at the photos. As I say, the link is in the description below. But the current head brewer of at the brewery is Sophie de Ronde, who was apparently one of the founders of an international women's collaboration brew day, and she's got a wealth of experience across the beer industry, from cellar management to brewing commercially with other breweries as well. And the artwork on these cans apparently is designed by Josh Smith. So yeah, really nicely presented cans. This of course, this is one of the things I've been talking about with some of these beers. A lot of these breweries now are using 440 milliliter cans instead of the 500 mils. From what I understand, the 440 mils is to sort of mimic the American pint, if you like, with these New England IPAs. But as you can see, really quite nicely presented. And these beers, of course, are, as I say, this brewery's had some really good accolades recently, and you know, I wouldn't be getting out of Durham Wines if it wasn't a pretty good beer. And I do like the artwork that they have. All of them have a fairly distinctive artwork, and it is quite similar with this sort of river thing or kind of skyline running down the middle of it. So yeah, really distinctive artwork, and they've done really nicely with that. It tells you a little bit on the back as well. It says, brewed in collaboration with our friends at Simply Hops. For this double IPA, we settled on a simple malt bill of pale and flaked oats, and then used a blend of El Dorado, Ella, Hallertau, Comet and Brew 1 hops in the Whirlpool and over multiple dry hop additions. Fermented with Lalanand, a New England yeast strain that brings the peach esters to meld with the ripe tropical hop aroma. So yeah, sounds like a really nice one. There you can see on the back there, there's the address of the brewery as well. I did a little bit of research on Brew 1. Brew 1 hops apparently are an experimental variety that were developed by John Haas and Brewlot, and apparently they give you some kind of nice pineapple flavours from what they were saying on the website and things. But without further ado then, let's let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting. Like I said at the start of the video, it's an 8.2% double IPA. I'm not sure if it will be a New England IPA, but I'm sure we'll find that out when we get it out and into the glass. It actually does look a little bit more like a regular IPA, like a kind of West Coast IPA. And of course the styles don't really matter. What we're more concerned about is whether it's a good beer or not. But this one, you know, it definitely looks more like a West Coast. You can get some of these lovely tropical fruit notes out of this beer just as you open up. But as you can see, it's actually poured quite a nice dark amber one. That's quite unusual actually for a lot of IPAs these days. Normally they're quite hazy. You can see there's a solid 2 fingers of a frothy kind of cream, very, very slightly beige coloured head actually. It's almost a creamy beige colour head that's coming off this one. The beer is pretty transparent. I'm not sure if you can see my fingers through that just because of the light in the room, but 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall it looks really nice. It looks like a kind of classic West Coast IPA, this one. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. But as I say, you get a good waft of these tropical fruits, and it actually does smell quite I would say quite pineapple-y and mango-y actually just on the aroma. But yeah, with this one you can really smell the oats. Like, it's got a really nice base to it. The oats and the kind of pale malty character just sitting there underneath it, and you've got the juicy tropical fruit notes just sitting on top of that. It really does smell lovely actually. But yeah, definitely some pineapples in there. That'll be the El Dorado and the Brew 1, like I was saying. There's a bit of grapefruit as well. You can detect that slightly stronger grapefruit note. That's the Ella. Ella, of course, is an Australian hop, kind of related to the Galaxy in some way, if I remember rightly. And there's a wee bit of a juicy mango note as well. Again, that's El Dorado. I just like how all the fruity notes go together. I'm not getting the peaches that they were talking about, to be honest. It does come across to me as more sort of pineapple-y mangoes, and there's a little bit of that grapefruit in there. But it smells really nice actually. It's a big juicy fruity aroma that's coming out of this beer. But yeah, you can definitely get a little bit of that spicy floral aromatic note that will be coming out from the Comet. The Comet will give you a little bit of grapefruit as well, but you can smell a little bit of that spicy note. But as the aroma kind of goes on a little bit, you do pick up the lighter kind of grassier notes from these Hallertau hops. The German noble hop quality comes out in this one, which is really nice. I love German. If you've watched the channel before, you'll know that I love German Helles and Dunkels and things like this. And I love the German noble tops, the Hallertau and the Tettnanger and things like that. And you can pick up just a little bit of an element of that in this beer, which is really nice. It gives you a little bit of nostalgia. And of course, this is probably something, if you compare this beer using the Hallertau hops and things like that, maybe that's kind of what we can expect from these new German breweries that are coming up and brewing IPAs and things. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you get stuck into this beer. But this one, let's get stuck into this then. This is the Hop Ties That Bind from Burnt Mill Brewery down in Badley, just outside of Ipswich in Suffolk. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Oh yeah. That's a pretty nice beer. What's interesting with this one, the first thought that came into my mind, just with the flavours that are coming out right away, it really reminds me of the same feel that you get from Dry and Bitter over in Copenhagen. It's got that nice oily, juicy quality to it and the sweet malt base. The Hobo Chick actually is the beer from Dry and Bitter that's making me, that this one's giving me a little bit of nostalgia about. It's really nice, this. Yeah, that's a bloody good beer. Let's just say with this one straight away, a big thumbs up to the Burnt Mill Brewery on this one. That's really nice. It's interesting because the malt base in this one, when you read what they've actually put in the beer, it's not quite what you'd expect. For me, it's almost got a little bit of that kind of caramelly note to it, which is quite interesting. That must be the yeast. When they're only using pale malt and oats in this one, there must be some kind of element in the yeast that's given a little bit of that kind of boozy, almost caramelly note. At 8.2% though, it is starting to get into a fairly heavy area, I feel like. Although it's not the heaviest Imperial IPA that I've had, right enough. But yeah, that's a nice beer. If you get the chance to have a go at this one, certainly do. There's a whole host of things going on in this one. So yeah, the malt base first off then. So you can feel the pale malt just kind of blanket in the middle of your palate on this. You can feel a little bit of that oaty smoothness there just as you move out from the centre of the palate. But what's really interesting me about this one is how the centre of the palate has a nice kind of caramel and biscuity note to it. That slightly boozy-ish caramel note that this beer has is interesting, just because, you know, they haven't put caramel malt in the beer, or caramel or pilsner malt or whatever. It's really interesting how they get that flavour. It has to be the yeast, although some brewers might be watching this and think he's talking a load of rubbish, so do comment below if you know exactly what that is. But I like that kind of malty caramel feel that this beer has. I always love it when an IPA has a really nice kind of has that really nice kind of caramelly base. It does, in some ways this beer does remind me a little bit of like Sierra Nevada, the Pale Ale and the Torpedo and things. It does have a similar kind of feel to it, if you like, although it's completely different in hop profile, right enough. But that kind of feel that that beer has is kind of reminiscent in this one, so you can see the Sierra Nevada influence here, I think. But yeah, it's this one for me, it's not going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs, it's just really nicely balanced. This beer for me is all about how the flavours go together. In terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, in the back corners of the palate, there's a little bit of earthiness there, and it's that nice kind of smooth earthiness, just almost very slightly sweet earthiness actually, that you get from the German noble hops. As you come further forward on the sides of your tongue, you can feel that nice German noble kind of floral quality sitting there. There's a little bit of spicy character which will be coming from the Comet, I would say. The Comet traditionally is a kind of bittering hop, and then round the very front curve of the palate you've got a nice lighter and sort of grassy note coming out of the beer too, which just balances the whole thing out really quite well. As I always say as well, you've got that nice little oily bubble just behind the very front curve of your tongue, and that's where you get these nice juicy fruity esters coming out of this beer. So yeah, with this one, there's a little bit of grapefruit there. You can just pick up a little bit of that grapefruit underpinning it, but that fades away quite quickly and it starts to lean more towards the kind of juicy tropical fruit notes. So I would say it's got a little bit of passion fruit coming out of it, but not too much. It's not quite got the strength that you'd expect of the passion fruit. For me, it's leaning quite towards the mangoes actually. It's not got that distinctive citra quality to it, but there is a good bit of mango in there, and there's a bit of pineapple and things as well. Peaches, they were talking about peaches in the flavour of this one, and I'm not sure, I always thought peach was a little bit sharper than the fruity flavours that I'm getting out of this. Of course, beer is always subjective, you know. All I can really tell you is whether this is good beer or not. You might perceive flavours slightly differently from me. But this one, I like the way that the juicy fruity qualities come out of this beer. But definitely for me, pineapples, mangoes and just a little bit of grapefruit kind of underpinning this one. I'm not so sure about the peach actually, but that doesn't particularly matter because it's a damn good beer. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So yeah, have a go at this one and see what you think. I'm really impressed with that. So I do need to try some of their other beers. There is, apparently they're kind of, what is it, the Green View or something like that. They've got one of their core range beers is really highly rated, so hopefully I can get a hold of that at some point and review it for you guys on the channel, because this one I am very impressed with. But I'm not sure if it's a limited edition or going to be one of their regular beers, but it certainly is pretty bloody good. In terms of the mouthfeel then, with this one I would say mid-bodied, definitely mid-bodied. Carbonation is quite smooth, it's got a nice oily mouthfeel to it, I would say. The fruity notes on this one, yeah, this beer definitely leans more towards the oily side of things than anything else. It's got a nice little bit of hoppy bitterness to it, but it's not going to blow your head in terms of IBUs. Like I was saying, the malt base has a bit of smoothness, but at the same time it's got a little bit of boozy sweetness to it as well, and there's some nice kind of juicy fruits. But overall, this beer for me is about how the flavours balance out, and this one's certainly got that. I like the way that these kind of fruits come out. There's a little bit of a pineapple-y flavour, as I'm saying, which is quite interesting. And that Brew 1 hop is really interesting. I've never come across that. As I always say in these videos, when there's new hops that I've never come across for, it's always a bit of a learning experience for me, and I would love to try them in kind of single hop New England IPAs or West Coast IPAs or something like that, because it gives you a proper feel for what a hop is all about. But for this one, for me, in terms of comparing this to other beers, it does remind me a little bit of dry and bitter Hobo Chick. It also reminds me a little bit of the IPA that I had from the Mexican brewery, Insurgente. It reminds me a little bit of that. And it also reminds me a little bit of, maybe it's somewhere in the middle of Torpedo and the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. It's got that kind of nice malty backbone to it, but that sort of wet, juicy, fruity quality. But it's a really good beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. I would really want to actually try some of the other beers that these guys are producing as well. Like I say, their IPA, they've got, I think it's Eastview or something like that, and then Greenview or something like that. They've got 2 of these IPAs that are meant to be really, really nice. So hopefully I can come across these in the near future. But in terms of this beer, really good, and I recommend that you have a go at it. I think it might be a limited edition one, so make sure you pick it up if you get the chance. But I'm sufficiently impressed with this brewery to go and seek out a few more of their beers. So it's been really cool to be able to have a go at one of these. So thank you to the guys at Durham Wines for stocking this beer, and hopefully they can get a few more of them. So yeah, so a really good brewery, this one, by the looks of it, and a really nice beer, so check them out if you get the chance. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Burnt Mill Brewery as well, and let me know if there's any new things coming out as well. But these guys have got some really good accolades, and on the basis of this beer, I can see why. So thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Till the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media, and let me know your own thoughts on these Burnt Mill beers. Slàinte just now.